I've talked to Thoris.
And what did he say?
He says that I can join the old camp if you think that I'm good enough.
Looks like I have myself a new job.
Do we start right now?
First, there are a few things you should know.
Tell me. What do I have to know to be accepted in the old camp?
If you want to join the camp, you'll have to earn some brownie points. There are a few influential people in the outer ring. Most of them are shadows. If you manage to impress them, it'll earn you a few brownie points. Then you'll have to stand the test of faith. Besides, there are a lot of skills every new arrival has to learn. The more you learn, the more valuable you'll be for us.
I'm just gonna skip through all these. I did these ones already. Let's just get those out of the way.
Where do I find the important people?
Well, you're looking at one of them. Then there's Thoris. You already know him. As for the others, you'll have to find that out by yourself. If you don't manage to do that, you don't belong here anyway. Just go through the outer ring and talk to people. Then you'll find out who's important.
Who can teach me?
Start with Fingers. He's the most skillful among us. If you keep your eyes peeled, you'll find other people who can teach you.
Where can I find Fingers?
His hut's kind of hidden. It's next to the castle wall. Just start out here and go towards the arena. When you're at the castle gate, go down to the left and you'll be heading for the arena.
What's the test of faith?
You have to go to the old mine. There you'll meet a guy called Ian. He'll give you a list. This list is important. It contains all the items the guys in the mine need from us. They'll get the stuff with the next convoy.
No problem.
Yes, there is a problem. The new camp must not get that list. Like I said, the list is important. If you do it right, you'll get much further.
If the list is so important, why should Ian give it to me?
Because you're going to tell him Diego sent you.
I'll tell him. Where can I find the old mine?
Go to Graham. He's a cartographer. Tell him that I sent you and that you need a map. It'll show you the way to the mine. He lives to the left of the north gate.
You're very probably right.
Can you teach me something?
Yes, I can teach you to improve your dexterity or your strength.
And so Diego is one of the first real teachers you can find. Of course, we already met Drax, who can teach you how to skin animals and take other animal trophies, but Diego is the first to teach you actual useful and combat-related stuff. So, it's not that hard to find all the important people as much as, Diego implied that if we couldn't pull it off, that we aren't good enough to be here. So it might make you a bit nervous, but in fact it's not that difficult. You just have to see guys wearing this armor. These are called the Shadows. They're essentially just minor agents of the old camp. Just look for the ones around here with names, and there are a handful of them. But if you do need at least some direction, Grim, who I actually did talk to before, but I forgot to talk to again, he actually does kind of direct you to at least a few of the most important ones.
What do I have to do if I want to get admitted to this camp?
Well, first of all, you have to become a shadow. Therefore, you have to find somebody who supports you, somebody who explains everything to you and takes responsibility for you. If I was you, I'd try to keep close to Diego. I did it like that. He's quite all right. He'll make you take the test of faith. That's different from everybody. Then there'll be some other smaller tasks from other shadows. If you manage them, you'll be with us.
And how far have you got with your tests?
I've already talked to Dexter and Sly and Fingers. They are some of the most influential shadows here in the camp.
And so there you go. Those are three of the big ones that you should talk to. Some of the other ones do have important stuff as well, but at least that gives you some guidance so you know kind of what you're looking for. Now, the first person that Diego directed us towards was a fellow named Fingers, who is down here, not really that far away. Mud hasn't made his way back. Speaking of mud, though, the reason I had never had that dialogue glitch before was because not since the first time I've ever played this game have I actually bothered to have that guy follow me. And I was keeping him around just because I wanted you, viewers, both old and new, to hear everything he had to say. And I tried to sympathize with the guy a little bit this time, but I couldn't do it. He's too much of a pain in the ass. And then here is Fingers himself.
I want to become a shadow.
So?
I'm looking for somebody to teach me something.
Why have you come to me?
Diego sent me.
You should have said that before. If you want to join the camp, it's an advantage to be a good fighter or thief. If the influential shadows in this camp test you, they'll give you tasks you better not get caught doing. That's why the way of the thief would be a good start to you. Incidentally, I'm the best thief in the whole of the old camp.
So, needless to say, the criminal backgrounds of all these inhabitants of this colony still come into play on a regular basis.
What can you teach me?
And that depends on what you want to know.
So he can teach you every thief skill, essentially, except sneaking. Picking locks is very important. Some of the more difficult locks require you to have a minimum skill level, I believe, but either way, it also makes it less likely for you to break your lockpicks if you fail to open it. And pickpocketing, I will demonstrate at a later date, but it is a lot less useful in this game than it is in any of the sequels, just because the way they handled it is not very good.
I want to learn how to sneak around.
I believe, no false modesty, that I'm one of the best thieves they ever chucked into this colony. But when it comes to teaching how to sneak around, Cavalorn is the better man for you.
And who is that?
Where can I find Cavalorn?
He's hunting out in the wild. You'll find him at the path to the new camp. Westwards of the old camp, there's a wide canyon. In this canyon, there's an old woodcutter's hut. You'll find him there.
You wouldn't speak up for me in front of Diego, would you?
Depends. If you demonstrate that you've learned something as a thief, we could make use of you.
How am I supposed to do that?
Learn a thief's skill. You need to become more skilled in sneaking around, pickpocketing, or opening locks. Then you'll have my vote.
And so, that's one of our first objectives. Now, you probably noticed that tree flickering in the background there. I'm still having some problems with the textures loading properly, especially at a distance, and that tree is one of the worst examples. But the problem is not half as bad as it was with the Freddy's texture pack installed. So anyway, that's Fingers. And the next shadow on our path here is Scatty here.
What's your job here?
I'm in charge of the arena. I organize the bets, hire new fighters. You know.
Oh, I know.
I want to join the camp. Can you help me?
I might be able to, if you manage to impress me. Some of the best fighters from all three camps come here to compete against each other. Challenge one of them to a fight. I'll watch you, and if you're good, maybe I'll think about it.
I thought the old camp and the new camp didn't get on. So why do you let their people fight here?
It's simple. There's fights here once a week, and the diggers always like to see one of the rogues from the new camp get flattened. If one of them fights, there's more bets, and that's good for business.
Yeah, so it's a simple...
I can't stand the swines from the new camp. But business is business.
So it's a simple exploitative enterprise, that's all it is.
Do you train fighters at all?
Yeah, but not just for fun. If you want me to train you, you'll have to pay for it.
I want to improve my handling of one-handed weapons.
You don't have enough ore.
Nor experience, for that matter. I have not yet I have not yet leveled up.
I want to place a bet.
But there's no fight on. The next fight's due in a couple of days. There'll be an announcement.
So that there is actually a leftover of the pre-release build of the game, where they're actually trying to put in regular arena fights that you could place bets on. And although that feature was never fully implemented, there are still kind of like these remnants of the concept, at least, which they never got around to removing, I think just because they didn't have the time for it, or they were worried about bugs that might have happened as a result of them pulling dialogue and such scripts and such out. Anyway, so Scatty wants us to fight one of these guys to prove what we are worth. Let's have a talk with this guy first. He looks a bit strange. And he's kind of bugging out. So there we go. Yeah, when they're doing that like practice swinging animation, if you try to talk to them, they put their weapon away, but they don't stop doing the animation, so it makes conversation a bit awkward.
What are you doing here?
Me? I'm fighting for the glory of the Sleeper.
The who?
What is the Sleeper?
You will find priests who'll be able to answer that question better than I can in our camp. I'll just tell you this much. The Sleeper is our Redeemer. He has led us to this place, and he'll get us out of here.
You mean you're waiting for your god to liberate you?
Yes, and the wait will soon be over. A great invocation is currently being prepared.
Of course it is. Sure you are.
What kind of invocation is it you're planning?
Our prophets say that the common invocation of the Sleeper is the key to freedom. If you want to find out more about it, just come to our camp.
You fight in the arena?
I was sent here from the swamp by my masters to fight for the Sleeper. I'll fight here for his higher glory, so all infidels can see how strong his power has made me.
Could you describe the way to your camp?
There are always some novices around here in the old camp, willing to accompany newcomers like you to our camp. You only need to speak to them.
So this fellow's a bit of a nutcase then.
Step aside.
And he's also an asshole. So the gist of it is that we've heard before of the Sect Camp in the swamp, and we learn a bit more about them from pretty much every NPC as who is a part of the camp, but also quite a few other ones who just have opinions about them. And the gist of their motivation is that they are following a messiah of sorts, their spiritual leader in the swamp, who believes that he has made contact with a deity who can grant them liberation in exchange for their faith. And so he apparently has been quite a persuasive fellow, because their camp is as large as any of the other camps here, and have some very committed novices and spiritual leaders. And they also make very talented fighters. And they're pretty much constantly looking for new members, just because they believe that the more they convert, the more powerful their god will be, and thus the sooner they can be freed of this barrier. And so we'll learn more as we speak to a few more of them, but he's the one gladiator here that you cannot actually fight. I don't really know why you can't fight him, but Kirgo and Kareem are the only two that you can actually get in a fight with.
Hi, I'm new here.
You don't say. Tell me about the outside world. It's been over a month since I heard anything from outside. I'm Kirgo. I fight in the arena.
Now, I'm just going to save right quick. No, I'll save later.
Are you good?
At fighting? I haven't been doing it for long, but I've already won a fight.
Oh, good for you.
I'd like to challenge you to a fight in the arena.
What? But I don't want to fight. Why don't we just have a beer together and talk about the outside world?
Fighting might be to our advantage, but beer sounds good.
Okay, give me a beer then.
Here you are.
Thanks. I'm afraid I can't tell you much about the outside world. They kept me locked away in a dark hole for almost 2 months before throwing
Apologies
me
for the
in.
camera issues here.
That's a shame. Oh well, never mind. Hey, you're still looking pretty good for someone who's been locked up for 2 months.
I'd like it to stay that way too.
Then why do you insist on fighting one of us?
I want to get acknowledged in the camp.
By Scatty, you mean? He's one of the most influential men in the outer ring. You might be able to impress him by defeating me. But if you really want to impress him, it's Kareem you need to beat. Only thing is, I'm afraid he might be too good for you. If you still want to fight me, let me know. But I won't enjoy knocking you out cold.
Alright, well, I say we give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen?
Let's fight. Are you ready?
Follow me.
Alright. I don't think this will be too bad. This guy seems like a wimp to me.
Right. Let's get to it. May the best man win.
Yes, indeed. Oh god, that hurt.
Don't try that again.
Ah, he walked all over me too, the bastard. Well, damn, that hurt. That was not exactly according to plan. So you can see that the developers of this game had no intention whatsoever of you having an easy ride right from the start. And that's one of the things that I and every fan of this game really enjoyed about it. Just the fact that they put you in this situation where you... Oh, and that's another thing I love. For some reason, when storming, the barrier becomes a lot more apparent. And it's just really, really awesome effect up there. Anyway, so they really intended for you to make your way up from nothing in this game and to really give you that sense of accomplishment that you get in games... well, a lot of the later games like Dark Souls, but Dark Souls is much more about the player. You know, as a player, you learn how to play the game and beat the enemies and everything, and you're really training yourself. Whereas in games like this, it's all about taking your character from, you know, just a little... Oh, wow, that was weird. Just taking your character basically from the dirt and making him into the most unstoppable killing machine in the entire world. And so, yeah, it appeals to a different audience. Anyway, let's see what Scatty has to say.
Yeah, and you lost. Surely you don't expect me to be impressed by that.
Yeah, so that's that. We can't exactly impress him by losing to Kirgo. But...
You looking for trouble with me again?
Yeah, they're scripted to do that by default. Basically, anytime you fight with an NPC, they're gonna have a remark about it when you talk to them again, even if it's scripted. Anyway, so that didn't go too well. We can't really fight Kirgo again since we lost to him, so I'm gonna reload. And this way, if we ever get the chance to later, we can try fighting him again.
Come on, I want to pass.
But Kareem, if we can't fight Kirgo, if we can't take one more, more than one hit from Kirgo, I don't know how we're gonna hold our own against this big fucker. But we'll give it a try.
I'm new here. Who are you?
I'm Kareem. You must have just been booted in here, or else you'd have heard of me. I'm the best fighter this damned camp has ever seen.
I'll challenge you. Let's go to the arena.
You? I'll have you for breakfast, kid. Do yourself a favor and get lost.
So you don't get hurt, you coward?
Don't you have any better ideas, boy?
At first I wanted to say something about your thin arms, but then I saw your ugly mug.
I think this is your last chance to finally get lost.
Let's think about it. No, there's nothing I can think of you'd actually understand.
Maybe you should give it a try.
How about your mother's a sheep shagging...
Yeah, I guess she is.
Well, this guy is. You can't really get under his skin too easily, can you? Well, I've only got one more idea.
You're only here to get a chance to kiss Gomez's ass.
What? You worm. You know nothing about us. The new camp is independent from all that shit. And apart from that, there's only one reason why I'm here, so I can beat the brains out of smartasses like you. It'll be my pleasure to do the same to you. Your destiny is awaiting you in the arena.
Wow, he is very theatrical all of a sudden. For a guy who, wouldn't let me get his goat a minute ago. This is probably a terrible idea. But, let's give it a shot. Come on. Say something.
Pain is a question of willpower.
Is it? Oh, wow.
Next time, I'll kill you.
No, that's... Oh, he's actually robbing me.
He doesn't even have ore on him.
Now, I don't think they do it in the first Gothic, but in the second Gothic, not only will they take your stuff, but they will also take your weapon as well. And in Gothic 3, for that matter. But, essentially, when they take your ore, they will take at least half of it. And since I don't really have that much to begin with, I guess under a certain amount, they're just not scripted to take anything. In Gothic 2, they will actually take all the money you have on your person. So losing in Gothic 2 is much more financially painful than it is in this one. Now, for some reason, Gorhanis is standing here in Scatty's spot. I think to just keep out of the rain. Now, speaking of rain, you'll notice that it does actually go through the canopy there. But, you know, inside of buildings and such, the rain actually does get stopped by bigger barriers such as this, which is more than can be said for games even as recent as fucking Skyrim. For God's sake. I have no idea why it's so hard for them to deal with that, but this game has been doing it since day one. Anyway, so fight with Kirgo did not go terribly well. But, I mean, Kareem.
I challenge Kareem.
And boy, did he whack you. Still, you chose the right opponent. I just can't stand those bastards from the new camp. Seems like you feel the same way. You're just the kind of guy we need.
And so there you go. We got Scatty's approval in a very unorthodox method, so that's one shadow so far who will vouch for us. Anyway, let's just kind of head back in the other direction. So had you beaten either Kirgo or Kareem, you would have gotten Scatty's vote as well, but you also would have gotten a lot more experience from it, so it would be to your advantage to do that. But it's not really of any concern to me right now, because having his approval now is more important than dealing with those guys again at a much later date. Now, we heard from Grimm and some other characters about the concept of protection money. Basically, there are a couple guards who wander around the outskirts of the outer ring here. And if you cross their paths, they will accost you for protection money. Of course, they're going to spin it to sound like it's for your own good, but at least one of them will make sure that refusal to pay comes back to bite you. And that fellow wanders in this area, so you have to be very careful. Anyone you see kind of on patrol in guard's armor, stay out of his way. His name is Bloodwind, and he is a royal prick. And here's Graham, the cartographer.
Hi, I'm new here.
I'm Graham. I draw maps. I haven't seen you here before. What do you want?
Well, it was a warm welcome.
Diego sent me. He asked you to give me a map with a route to the old mine.
No problem. For you, only 20 ore.
Hold up now.
Hold on. Diego said you should give me the map, not that you should sell it to me.
But I'm not interested. Have you any idea how difficult it is to make a map like this? 20 is my special price for friends of Diego. Usually I take 50.
Give me the map or I'll take it.
Hey, be cool, man. I don't want trouble. Here, take the map and leave me alone.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Being a scumbag can get you far in life. Now, as I said before, there is, in spite of what Ratford tells you, there is no way to get another map from Graham apart from buying them. I've tried everything. I've tried sneaking in there to get at his chest, which, by the way, this guy, as far as I know, never sleeps. No matter what time of day I came over, this guy was always up and about. Or maybe he does sleep, but if he does, it's only for like a matter of seconds and he gets back up for some reason. I don't quite remember, but the only other thing I've seen him do is sit down. So getting at his chest is annoying, but if you manage to do it, you'll find no maps in there. If you manage to pickpocket him, you'll find no maps in his inventory. So, this one map that we have is the only one we can ever get. And, so it's a very small map. It's not got a whole lot of detail, but that orange X and the kind of upper leftish part is where the old mine is. So it's really not that far. You just follow one straight path out the north gate, across the bridge. Now, what do I could have sworn you could open the map with M. There's no actual control for it. Whoa, all the lights came on. Now, I do know that there is a glitch that's supposed to happen. Someone told me about it. I've already forgotten who it is, and I apologize for that. But another sort of exploit you can use is apparently to jump and press the map key at the same time. I've tried that. It doesn't actually seem to really do much. That's all I've seen happen, is he just kind of spazzes out. Or just lands back on the ground. Maybe if you do it from a ledge. So let's take a look.
That wasn't very clever. Wouldn't like to be in his shoes, though.
No, he doesn't really seem to do anything at all. Or perhaps...
I'm not listening to all that blathering anymore.
No, that doesn't do anything either. Nah, I have no idea. Someone's gonna have to explain that to me in a bit more detail. And that fellow there, the one standing all proud and mighty at the top of the hill here, that is Bloodwind. He's the one who's going to shake you down for protection money. And the best way to avoid him is just to go down along the wall here. And I'm going to avoid him for now. You can see he's keeping his eye on me, because he is going to try and talk to me if I ever pass it near him. But I'm going to avoid him for now just because he'll be easier to deal with later. But I will take care of that part of the old camp at a later date.